tricks on me. But when I look at these two compositions, I'm liking the look of RNG's a little bit better.
I agree. I think the Corki is the one pick here for Vici that kind of is a little bit of a pivot away from what they're already deciding to do. It kind of looked like they got towards that second pick phase and were like, crap, we can't really go in super aggressive against this team because we'll end up losing out. So decide to try and move away. And I think they've now found themselves in a little bit of an awkward position with how Corki and Olaf function together. But we'll have to see if they are going to be able to at least find some sort of advantages in the early game. And then they won't have to worry too much about trying to battle with the way their comp works.
Yeah, it will be a question of execution at the end of the day, as it always is. But ultimately, when you look at the side of RNG, for me, it's just like, you know, we've got a power pick in the top lane in Wukong, got a power pick in the jungle, got a power pick in the bottom lane of the Ezreal as well. It just feels like more of these standard meta power picks that are first pickable right now are on the side of RNG.
It's also, when you look at Vici, it's like, how do you actually try and start these fights? Because Mordekaiser can't really get on top of an Ezreal or a Graves, and even if you do catch the Akali, she just hides in the Shroud, right? So you're not really too worried about you're losing the 3 carries that are on RNG. And now there's a Corki and a Misfortune that can try and set up, but you haven't got anyone to try and hold RNG in place and allow Forge to free fire for iBoy to get these big ultimates. And you end up in this weird spot as Vici where you're not actually able to do particularly much against the RNG.
And we'll see if that is going to be an issue when we get to those fights. But honestly, I think things will kick off long before we get into the straight-up 5v5 situation. Because Xiaolong Bao, he's played, what, 3 games so far this split, and he's been incredibly proactive every single game. He's shown that he wants to set the pace of these games for the side of RNG. Do have a bit of a trade in that bottom lane, but ultimately, Leona versus Nautilus, you don't expect too much action because they kind of negate one another.
You say that, but Leona, when she does hit this level 3, takes over the bottom lane just because of the inbuilt tankiness she has off of the W. I mean, Nautilus shield just doesn't do enough to try and answer for it. So when you go aggressive, especially before that first buy, it will be Betty and Ming favored. But after that, the difference in the 80 carry damage is what really is going to turn this back over in favor of Vici.
I don't know how Cube didn't get that minion there. It looked like he attacked it. I heard it attack, but it didn't do any damage. And he missed the minion. Very sad.
Yeah, we've seen him miss a fair few there. Xiaohu.
Oh, Forge is in trouble, actually. That's a lot of damage. And Xiaohu already bullying this Corki, already doing a great job. And then Carly as Cube wants to find himself a 1v1. And Nu might just be in... Why is he still CSing right now? He goes for the flash. He survives in the end, but I feel like Nu just completely disrespected that.
Yeah, flash burnt now. And as Ikes, you've got this brilliant lane that you can go and play towards. Cube needs to try and look for the bounce back, but Xiaolong Bao trying to answer in this bottom side.
I feel like Cube could have forced the issue a little bit there, and maybe tried to go for something, but perhaps not. Either way, Nu going to burn his flash. You can see Xiaolong Bao once again looking towards this bottom lane. He seems to be a bit of a favorite for his recently. He's going to have to settle for the Skull Crab.
This lane is going to slowly push out though, so could go scuttle back in towards bot side. There is no vision here, so it's not like Vici know that this is going to happen.
There is a ward that has just been placed, and that means that he's going to have to back away from that one in the end. And we'll see where he's going to opt to go for next. I'd expect him just to clear his own jungle though. Reset and see what he can set up for later. Ming going to go in, trying to get onto iBoy. Stun is going to be there. Betty there to follow up. Actually flashes forward, and iBoy's ignited and taken down. 2v2 from RNG.
How he said it, level 3 is right where RNG are going to be able to take over this bottom lane. The Leona's just far tankier than the Nautilus. Betty's got a heap of damage as well because he hasn't backed where you're picking up the likes of a tier, whereas iBoy's going for damage, and they punish beautifully. Once again, RNG's bot lane coming up clutch.
Do you know what? I'll eat my words on that one because I said nothing was going to happen there, but RNG say no. Ming says, I've got a playmaking champion and I am going to make plays. This is what I love to see.
And now think about it from Xiaolong Bao's perspective, right? You've got a winning bot lane now that's doing great for you. You've now got a mid lane as well that's doing work against Forge. You can play towards either of these lanes and try and either set up a gank or look to try and pick up some of these early dragons and really start to get yourself rolling, where when you get to those 2 items, which is where RNG are super strong, you've already got a really big advantage.
Ming wants to make something happen in the mid lane though. He's roamed on up, clears away any kind of vision with the sweeper, but Hung's on his way as well, as is iBoy, clearing away vision in the Dragon Pit. And Hung steps forward very aggressively. He's just going to try and get some deep vision for himself, and that will spot Ming as he moves back down towards the bottom side of the map. Xiaolongbao hasn't actually been spotted just yet. I say that, though, he does walk across this ward in the tri-brush, so they know exactly where the RNG jungler is.
Ming has been zoned off a decent amount of CS in this bottom lane, though, so he is going to start to fall behind a little bit in levels. So we will see Hung hit that level 4 slightly before Leona, and there is that brief window with Ike's on this bottom lane where they can try and make something happen.
Ooh, Xiaohu going very aggressive. He's hit level 6, but he misses the perfect execution. Can't get the kill. Does survive the tower dive, though. It's just going to be an even fight in the mid lane. Actually, it's a flash for an ignite, so I think Xiaohu still just about wins.
Yeah, I think he's going to be reasonably happy with that. And with that flash burn now, it becomes a lot easier for them to try and make stuff happen.
Ooh, Zenith Blade just about goes wide there. And that's going to be the end of that, honestly. If you can't get onto iBoy, you can't really fight this.
Ike's is going to try and start up this dragon, though, and with Xiaolongbao invading on the top side, this is kind of coming out as a win. Oh, hang on, top lane.
Cube in a 1v1 against New here. Both going to walk away pretty fine at the end of the day. And Mordekaiser is going to be level 6 now, so if you try and go for any kind of tower dive shenanigans, you're going to have a bad time.
So the thing here is, Ike's does get the dragon, which is fantastic, but he's completely lost his topside jungle. So unless he can try and answer for a few camps here, he's going to start to fall behind in comparison to Xiaolongbao, and that is disastrous as an Olaf, because you need to be tanky to get into these fights.
Cyclone being used in the top side here. Cube relatively low, and Xiaolongbao is just waiting in the wings, desperate to come in and make a play onto Cube. Cube knows it, though, and he's just going to have to clear away the vision and just settle for that for now.
So again, I'm actually looking back down towards Ike's. Xiaohu has managed to roam into the jungle, is stopping him from picking up these raptors as easily as you'd like. He's going to try and do it again here. So as long as he can steal away a few of these, Ike's is going to be set so far behind.
Xiaohu nearly managed to steal away the big chicken as well. We've got a whole fight going on because Ming's arrived. Flash away from Ike's, but here's Xiaolongbao to answer. Ming gets the kill with his ignite. It's just another pickup for RNG.
And this is why you oftentimes don't see Olaf locked in against Graves, because you fall behind when it comes towards the pressure on clearing out the jungle. And as well, you just can't fight 1v1. Ike's trying desperately to make plays happen and giving advantages to RNG.
Forge could be in a bit of trouble here as he actually Valks so early on in the fight. There's no flash available, and he's going to go down. Xiaolongbao gifted the kill there, the collateral damage to do it.
RNG are playing this map so damn smart, and this is what we wanted to see from them continuing forward. It really looks like RNG have gone back to what we expect from this team.
It just feels calculated, right? It feels like they know what they're doing. They've got a plan and they're sticking to it and using this Graves versus Olaf matchup to their benefit. But also Forge, a little disrespectful there. They knew whereabouts on the map everyone was.
And with Xiaohu understanding, hey, look, Ike's has got to invade here. He's constantly checking those raptors. He knows that, look, either Ike goes into his own jungle, he's got nothing to clear, his entire jungle's gone, and he's useless, or I can just protect these raptors a little bit and buy enough time for Xiaolongbao to make it over, and we can turn this fight around.
In the meantime, Ike's going to be able to start off this Rift Herald as everyone from RNG had to recall. Obviously, they know about this one. There is the vision from Scuttlecrab there. But realistically, there's not much of a contest available, and it means Ike's finally gets himself an advantage here. We'll find the Rift Herald. Obviously, he got the Dragon first as well, but a iBoy, he's going to get caught by the Zenith Blade. True Shot Barrage flashed away from, though. That's both summoners now for iBoy, who stepped way too far forward. Oh, if there was no minion wave, that was a dead AD carry.
And let's not forget, Ming hasn't even hit level 6 yet. So Solar Flare wasn't using that engage. Now think of any other fights that are going to be coming up or even plays towards this bottom side, and they can dive onto iBoy, very quickly take the kill alongside Xiaolongbao, and there's nothing Vici can do about it.
Yeah, even just taking the summoners, you're going to be happy with that as a 2v2. And this RNG bot lane really looking dominant in this series, and they looked fantastic as well in their first series of the split.
And in spring, Betty for me was the consistent player on this team, and now that Ming, Xiaohu and Xiaolongbao have stepped up to what we expected of them, he's only flourishing even more. Now taking over the bottom lane, a 10 CS lead, 15 CS lead even for himself down in that bot side, and especially in a matchup where it's Ezreal versus Misfortune, that's not what you'd expect at all.
You don't expect Ezreal to be the aggressive AD carry, the one that's forcing the issue in the bottom lane. But I guess that's one of the things about Leona, right?
Well, I'm just saying, a guy who was really impressive on Ezreal and taking over lanes was Uzi, you know? I'm just saying.
That's very true. Yeah. That's very true. Although, they don't have the support of Uzi helping them out anymore. He has retired now. So it's not going to be... We can't just give them all of the credit. We can't give Uzi all of the credit anymore. It's not his team anymore.
Well, it still is his team. He still said he'd be involved in some respects. So, and still, I imagine he's still trying to help out behind the scenes. Unfortunately, just health issues and that mean that he's not going to be here anymore. And I can already see the Bible thumps in Twitch.
The Bible chumps.
Yeah, look. I didn't sleep well last night.
Dude.
Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night, and I am struggling a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Accidental burn from Dagda there.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Let's take a bit of a recap of where we're at right now, because RNG already with a 2,000 gold lead at 11 minutes. They're 3 kills up. The only downside they've had is these objectives. The Dragon went the way of Vici. The Rift Herald went the way of Vici. We've yet to see where Ike's is going to drop that yet, though. And let's bear in mind, game number 1, Ike's managed to get himself to Rift Herald. They only got 2 plates in the mid lane, weren't able to really force any issues with it.
Well, I think the best way for Vici to try and use this Rift Herald is put pressure towards the mid lane just as this next dragon is spawning, and maybe they can look to sneak one away and put the brakes onto RNG a little bit, but still, with the dominance that RNG has had, they should be able to maneuver where they're not going to worry, and especially with Ike's on this top side, it looks like it's all about just getting some of this gold in onto Cube. Potentially even taking the tower here, actually.
I was going to say, yeah, there's 2 of them here, and there's no answer whatsoever. New cannot step up to this, so this is going to be the first tower of the game surely going down in favor of them, but the Cyclone comes on through. New wants to contest. He nearly actually finishes off Ike's, decides to stay under the tower here. He will be able to keep his tower safe, and in the meantime, RNG get the dragon.
And now we can make that play bot because you don't have those summoner spells up quite yet for iBoy. With all these members down here.
He needs to be careful here. Does Arcane shift away? In comes Xiaolongbao and Ming to try and set this play up. I don't think they're going to go for the dive though, because Forge, you could see him on the minimap starting to move down towards this play.
Xiaohu had moved up towards the top side to just dissuade anything extra coming in from Cube and Ike's. So with Xiaohu teetering top, the lean towards the bot side from the rest of RNG isn't going to quite work out.
Just going to be complete vision control, though. There's so many wards that Xiaolongbao and Ming have cleared now for their side, just taking away those resources. And Cube finally gets to step forwards here, and he will get the first tower of the game eventually. New was able to delay things, but ultimately this Mordekaiser well ahead in the top lane.
It doesn't matter too much, though, for the Vici game plan, because when you think about it, Cube here is, we already said, going to have a difficulty getting into these fights. He's going to be trying to use this Shadow Realm a little bit more defensively, and helping to beat someone in 1v1. I mean, yeah, you can kill them faster, but the whole point is Mordekaiser kills you anyway. So it's not going to be a massive boon to Vici, the fact that this gold has gone on towards the Mordekaiser.
One thing I will say, though, is Mordekaiser is one of these champions that if you get far enough ahead, you can just win the game by yourself. You can just walk in on 1v5. So if Cube can keep that ball rolling and can get enough gold behind him, he will get very, very scary very quickly. So RNG do need to watch out for that potential situation. One downside, though, is everyone just build QSS, and it kind of negates all of that.
Well, even then, like, think about trying to get onto some of these carries. I mean, it's easy for you to get onto Yu and Xiaohu because they'll be in the thick of things, but when you look towards Xiaolongbao, towards Betty, the ones that are really going to be dealing a ton of damage, it's not as easy for Mordekaiser to get onto them. You've got the arcane shifts to avoid some of the death grabs, same with the E from Xiaolongbao, who'll be able to just quick draw himself away. So Vici's going to find themselves in a bit of a precarious spot when we do get towards some of these later fights, as long as RNG have set up correctly and they're not just allowing Vici to wander in on top of them in the likes of that Dragon Pit.
Okay, so if that's not the game plan, what is the game plan then for Vici? How do they execute this composition to find themselves a win and equalize this series?
I imagine the best bet here for them is to try and go for some sort of split push here with Cube and Forge off in side lanes and hope that they're able to answer for it. But when you've got Xiaohu, who's starting to get pretty far ahead here, it can be an issue for Forge to deal with this Akali in a side lane and not have to worry about RNG and very quickly taking some of these objectives while you're in side lanes.
Thought Xiaohu was going to be in a bit of trouble there. Zenith Blade just goes wide on the side of Ming. means that Forge can just clear away this mid wave. Xiaolongbao went in to get some vision control off this Herald, but Vici have answered in force here as they move towards the Rift Herald themselves. Cube here, iBoy here. Everybody arriving to make sure that they can get every single neutral objective this game.
The package is up and available for Forge, which is going to turn this fight pretty heavily in favor of Vici.
They still want to go for this one. New caught out, hung incredibly low, and already a kill onto the mid laner. iBoy's in trouble as well as Xiaohu dashes away. Ike's can't answer for him, and now he flashes back over the wall and finishes the kill. New desperately just trying to survive against Cube. Won't be able to do so, but it doesn't matter because the kill is answered and it's a double for Xiaohu.
And it doesn't matter if Forge has package, if he just dies straight away. He got disintegrated at the very beginning of that fight. Maybe got an auto attack off, and RNG run away with this. Just watch Forge. He's like, cool, I'm going to make the play. Ming flashes in aggressively, CCs him forever, and Vici, as a result, lose their mid laner. iBoy's running for the hills because Xiaohu has already removed 3/4 of his health bar, and it's only Cube left trying to salvage this fight.
And that was actually a flash from Cube at the end of the fight as well. So, you know, that issue you mentioned before of Xiaolongbao and Betty being difficult to be pulled into the Death Realm, that becomes even more difficult when Flash isn't available.
And now you've got this Rift Herald as well. So, although the towers haven't been cracked for RNG just yet, they can use this advantage now to start getting some of that standing gold in their favor. You can see already how Betty has moved towards this mid lane. He's going to be on clearing out this mid wave duty and allowing Xiaohu and Nu to try and use their finished items now to put pressure onto these side lanes.
Yeah, on the side of RNG though, they've got to move in quick if they want to contest this dragon, because the vision control very much in favor of Vici right now. You can see Ming sweeping away, trying to change that fact. Xiaolongbao has arrived as well, and Xiaohu here from the bottom lane will be able to rotate up very quickly.
Vici have to be pretty careful though, because look at where Nu is positioned right here. He can get a really good flank off if they try to enter this river. Same with the position on Xiaohu. If RNG are able to bait Vici into this river, you get perfect access for both the solo laners of RNG.
Not the Corky Bug, Dagda. Anything but the Corky Bug. I can't deal with the Gatling gun for the rest of the game.
Look, what we need to do is him to buy his Zhonya's, and then we get the Zhonya's bug with the Gatling gun.
That's the dream. That's the ultimate dream. Yeah, I think it works for the stopwatch potentially. I don't actually know though. Well, it's just going to be not contested in the end from Vici, and understandably so when Cube's not there as well. But I do feel like there is still a potential avenue for a victory here for Vici when it comes to this misfortune, because they're only just under 2,000 gold behind at this point in the game. If you can get a good CC chain onto a couple of players and you can get iBoy to get the bullet time across everyone, you could still win a fight.
RNG are looking to try and crack down this mid lane though. If they can open this up, it becomes so much easier to make plays on that bottom side towards the top lane. But it looks like actually while everyone from Vici is distracted with the big old bug in the mid lane, Xiaohu's managed to take bottom lane as well.
Beautifully done here by RNG to start opening up the map for themselves, and that means they're now going to have the lead when it comes to these towers. The only one remaining is up in that top lane when it comes to the tier 1. So excellent job so far, and RNG, I mean, I feel like we're just complimenting them endlessly, but it's just been so clean. Everything so far from them in this series has been immaculate.
And that's it. It's been a bit of a slower game because, of course, you said you're waiting for your Ezreal to really come online. You want that Akali to finish the Hextech Revolver, or Hextech Gunblade even, and then move on into the likes of this Oblivion Orb before she really is able to threaten the backline of Vici. But the second they hit that mark, they go straight in on these fights. And I'm actually looking at Nu here as well, who's had to go for the Black Cleaver build on the Wukong, because of the amount of armor Cube has managed to pick up so far. And
one of the things that you mentioned earlier on is it's difficult for the side of Vici to get onto this Ezreal. And Betty knows it. Look at the build he's going for right now. You can't because the Colonel's there as soon as I mention it. And the Colonel likes the build, apparently, because he's going for favor of RNG. But what he has in his inventory is a Mana Moon and a Stinger. He's going for a Triforce. He knows he doesn't need to be defensive. He knows he just needs damage.
I actually would have probably preferred the Iceborne Gauntlet build here, because I know you like damage is good, thumbs up, that's great, but you've already got a huge amount of damage on your team. You don't really need to amplify that quite further. I think, to be honest, being able to slow Cubes advance the likes of Hong, or even catch out Ikes once that Ragnarok is gone, could have been far more valuable here. But He's gotten the Triforce build, and I suppose at this stage you're kind of just hoping that you are able to keep your distance as this Ezreal.
Yeah, I think part of it as well is you mentioned the win conditions here for Vici Gaming. It's all about the split push, all about separate the map. If you are in that kind of position, it's even more difficult for anyone to threaten this Ezreal at any point because they're not going to be trying to force this 5v5 fight. So maybe Betty just deciding, you know what, Triforce is the way, damage is the way. And I can get behind that. I can get behind just building pure damage.
RNG, though, looking to try and get in towards this topside jungle now and get control. So this is where, at least right now, RNG are trying to match this side lane split push because they know, hey, look, we've got a 2-kill Akali.
Oh, nice little dodge there from Ike's to get away from the stun, but still massive damage through with the Essence Flux and the True Shot Barrage coming on in there. Ultimately, though, no pick is had in the end, and you can see just same thing as last game. Just complete and utter vision control of this Baron area.
It does draw a cube up from the bottom lane, though, and that is given the opportunity now for you to shove in that bottom wave that little bit further. So right now, it's all about RNG gaining ground when it comes to vision, when it comes to where their minion line is, and trying to, well, apparently start up the Baron.
Hey, you've got a Graze. You built a Triforce on Ezreal, so you got the damage for it.
You need the Blade of the Rune King first, though. That's what you need if you're trying to rush this.
They decided against it at the end. It was spotted by Ike's. It means they have to move away from this one, but ultimately, I wasn't really expecting them to be able to sneak that one.
I mean, look, A for effort, but yeah, as he said, it's not that likely. Still, though, RNG are doing a decent job here of managing their resources. They're really looking for this dragon that's about to spawn in 40 seconds. You manage to add on a second Ocean Drake, put yourself on Soul Point, and you're drawing Vici into a fight that right now they just really don't want to take.
Once again, back to this vision game between the two teams as Vici desperately trying to get any kind of ward presence around that Baron, but it's actually the dragon they need to worry about because that's up in 20 seconds and RNG have moved on over. They've got vision of the Baron, so Vici can't make any crazy shenanigans happen there. And this would be Soul Point if RNG can grab another Ocean.
RNG, with the control of the river, should be able to just send over the likes of Xiaolongbao and pick up this dragon pretty much uncontested. Vici are going to struggle to move in here, especially with that damage being poked on towards Forge, to take back this river control because they will just get poked out by Betty and trying to walk in against Xiaolongbao.
Xiaohu just looking for a shuriken, but in the meantime, all they're really doing is playing for space right now, trying to make sure that Vici can't move in, and that's exactly what they've done. Betty jumps forward as Ike's is just getting annihilated. And this is the kind of Ezreal play I like to see, the confident Ezreals that really know how much damage you can do once the items come on through. True Shot Barrage won't be available for this fight as the Solar Flare goes down onto Cube. He's all of the gold for Vici, remember. He is the carry right now. Forge trying to do anything to Nu that he can, but Nu actually has to flash away from the fight. Vici forced out overall.
They get the dragon, though, and that's the important part. Trying to get that little bit more to see if they could pick up a turret or maybe even turn towards this Baron if they got a significant win. But realistically, RNG can just back away now, spend their spoils, and now you're in this hard spot as Vici as, okay, well, how do we try and defend both this dragon and the Baron at the same time?
That will be the question, but that's 4 minutes away. They've just got to worry about the Baron for the time being, but this gold lead continuing to slowly but surely creep on up in favor of RNG. And when you look at the clock, Vici have lasted a lot longer in this game. It has to be said, because the game was over in 2 minutes.
That is true.
In game number one. True. But I feel like that's by design here from RNG, because they're playing a much slower game.
They are, definitely. And I think when you look at Vici coming up towards this, hang on, Hung?
If they just sat tight in that brush for a second longer, I think that's a pick onto Hug.
Well, that's the thing now. It's really hard for Vici to enter in towards this jungle because, well, you don't know where RNG are, and the burst damage that can come through with the setup from Ming is sky high right now.
And it's worth talking about the fact that you just saw the Q damage on that red buff from Betty. When you go for this Triforce route, that Mystic Shot is going to do upwards of 600 damage.
And you've got control now of RNG of the Baron pit. You just swept it out. So you know that once you start to get these blue trinkets out of Vici, there's no more vision that can move in that aggressively. So as long as RNG are able to keep control of this topside jungle, they can starve out the vision from Vici.
In onto Hung they go. Cube has the Essence Flux on him, and Xiao, who dives across the backline. True Shot Barrage across the team. Solar Flare doesn't quite land though, and Hung found caught out in the wrong spot. Cube goes down as he can't get the 1v1. Forge is in trouble. So is Ix. The whole of Vici falling apart before our eyes. And it's only iBoy and Forge to walk away.
And everyone from RNG is still standing so they can turn over towards this Baron. And that's how you get the control here for RNG. Getting the vision in the right place. The teleport in towards the backline is new. And as soon as you have all these pieces from RNG moving together, they dive onto Vici and just solidify their win.
And I just love how coordinated these engages are from RNG. The second that trigger is pulled, every single member is on board.
Yeah, and look, Hung is not in the best of positions here, but all you want as RNG here is to have multiple different flank options. This is the perfect spot for the likes of that Akali. New as well is zoning Vici away from the safety of their own base, so RNG are pretty easily able to clean up what scraps are left as Vici.
Beautifully done by RNG, and another chunk of gold going their way. Now a 7,000 gold lead, and it's only a minute and a half until that Ocean Drake spawns. Bear in mind, they've got the Baron, so in the meantime, they can look towards towers or towards an AD carry who happens to be caught out yet again.
Why is he there?
Banter, innit?
I mean, I suppose,
Just banter, Douglas. Just banter.
Yeah. Just great bans of iBoy being
Top
the
crack.
entire way up towards River when he only got his tier 2. I mean, look, I think Coma's going to be getting the belt out later today because iBoy has really not been having a great series, and RNG now looking to put pressure towards this mid lane is Baroned up, damage.
Oh my days, Cube, luckily for him, has the Zhonya's already, but it's not going to matter because Xiaohu's there. They're going to finish this one off. They ain't afraid of no towers at this point in the game. And, well, another couple of picks, a tower goes down. They can start to siege in the mid lane here.
They can, because they've also got now New on this bottom side. So RNG moving over to help out New and clearing out that wave. And now they can just put the pressure down.
Honestly, Dragon's up in 40 seconds, but RNG are like, sod the Dragon. Let's get some inhibitors right now. These picks are at the perfect time. And honestly, it feels like the mentality of Vici is broken at this point. Morale is all but gone.
But it has been RNG making the correct plays, playing towards the strengths of their composition, taking it a little bit slower, but figuring out exactly how to go against what Vici are trying to do. And now they're starting to pick up the victories. We're 12-1 in this game. The Dragon in 15 seconds, they're not even going to back. You can see they're just going to go straight for that objective. New will, but that's actually, it looks like
everyone has
now. Yeah, this actually is, this is a bit of a mistake potentially here from RNG because it may give the opportunity for Vici to steal it away. But they got the double inhib anyway, so a double inhib for one Dragon. Do you really care?
Honestly, I don't think that Vici could do this one. As soon as they realize the whole team is here, they gotta back away. You're 10,000 gold down. Maybe this is the fight you have to take though, because Ocean Soul would seal the game. RNG going to force this one. True Shot Barrage across two of them. Solar Flare in, and here comes the fight. Xiaohu knocked up, and Ming doesn't really get much follow-up, but the bullet time barely tickles Betty, and they go in for the fight. But actually, Vici winning this one out so far. It's going to be 2 for 1 in their favor, but it doesn't matter, because Ocean Soul win the way of RNG.
And where are they going to run to? RNG are everywhere, Munch.
I thought for a second there it could have been Vici's, but no, it's all gone down. iBoy falls. It's an ace. Except for Hung, who managed to somehow sneak away. Bad support there to be the only one living, especially as an engaged support.
I would have abandoned you in that case as well, to be honest. That's the support in that
Charming.
situation.
Absolutely charming, Doug.
But honestly, RNG, this has been clean. This has been incredible to watch. And maybe, just maybe, Munch, you're onto something. They could be back.
I think RNG might just be back. It's a bit early to say it, but they're looking good so far in the LPL. That's 2 games under their belt in this series, and it's 2 series under their belt in summer.
Royal never give up, finding so many pressure points